What is up? You're watching Friends Brewing. I'm Josh, and I'm with my girl Kirby. In the first half of this two-part episode, we are headed to Listermann's brewery in Cincinnati, Ohio. Listermann's is a beer supply shop, so the plan was to get a recipe to take back and brew. The beer menu there was huge. They had something for everyone. My favorite beer there on tap was the Sour Triple IPA. It was perfectly soured, hoppy, and delicious. I think it had about 9.5% alcohol, so it was definitely very strong. After a beer, I made my way to the brew store. The store has everything you need to get started brewing. Since we already have our own equipment, we decided just to check out the recipes they had there. I wanted to do a recipe that Listermann brews themselves, so I went with an American Pale Ale called Don't Talk Shit About Norwood. On the shelf, it comes as an extract kit, so I had that recipe translated into an all-grain recipe. The main difference between extract kits versus all-grain is how you get your sugars. In an extract kit, basically a lab is doing all the work for you. All-grain brewing requires you to extract the sugars yourself from the grains. After weighing everything out, I poured all of the grains into the mill machine. Milling the grains basically crushes them. It helps get the sugars out when you go to mash. Next thing was to find the hops and yeast for the recipe. Keep in mind, we will be sharing this recipe for the next episode when we go to brew it. I think the total was about $33.50. So after checking out, we talked with Alan, who has been brewing for 32 years. He was extremely nice and offered to show us his experimental brew he does every Saturday. We left with our new recipe in hand, eager to show up the next morning and to get a behind-the-scenes look at Listermann's. Although we didn't get to film as well as we would have liked, we were definitely stoked to get to brew with Alan. So our brew that day with Alan was a New England IPA using experimental lotus hops and adding lactose. Alan was nice enough to even give me a version of that recipe so I could brew it myself. I'm going to go ahead and show you that right now. I'll also put it in a link in the description below. So stay tuned for the next episode where we are going to be brewing the American Pale Ale we got. Don't talk shit about Norwood, and cheers.